And we're live.
Morning.
Hey, good morning. I, oh, is our audio good? Well, no, of
Oh
course
no.
not.
Oh
Hold on a second. It
goodness.
was good on our ear. Let me see here. What's it doing? Because usually I would see my little audio meter over here, and it didn't do it. But we're gonna get there here in a second. I just gotta press a button, I'm sure. So come on now. You can do it. All right. Oh, I know what I gotta do. Hold on a second. For whatever reason, sometimes this thing gets goofy. All right. Jab. Okay. And then let's do this. Is that still working? Everybody hear us? Let's see. You know what? I think we are working. I think I just goofed, thought I wasn't live, because I've always had so many audio problems.
Right.
All right, I think we're good. I don't know what I was thinking, but all right. So welcome. This is Team Tuttle Realty. So here for a special episode today. We're going to do a live interview. This is our first live interview, so
Right.
on this platform, and it's going to be a good one.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So out there, of course, we always like to start the show with what it's
Yes.
like out there, and currently it's 41 degrees, so it's a nice, cool, crisp morning here in Oklahoma.
Or as I call it, brisk.
Yeah.
Refreshing.
Yeah, yeah, you like those terms, those
Yeah.
Canadian terms down here. And I did on my weather broadcast yesterday. Big changes coming toward the end of the month and next month. So that'll be interesting. It's gonna get cold again. So like real cold, not this kind of cold.
Good. We can use our Canadian gooses again. Canada gooses.
That's right. So we have our morning coffee, by the way. So this is coffee talk. So make sure you grab your cup of Joe and hang out with us here for about 20 minutes. We're gonna have some good questions posed for all things roofing. That's our topic of the day.
Yes.
And we got an expert on here, and he can answer any and all questions. So we're going to ask him like some questions that are pretty common for everybody. But if you guys have your own set of questions, please type them in the comments section, and then
Yes.
we're going to get those going. Yeah. So, all right. Well, without any further ado. By the way, the market is getting better. We didn't want to spend too much time on the market on this episode, but it's getting a little bit better. So that's good news. So everything's starting to kind of calm down and go in a positive direction.
Yeah.
So we'll keep our fingers crossed. All right, so let's go to the man of
Yes.
the hour, and that is Jamie Ferguson. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Very well, thanks.
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's early, so thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Very
Well,
early.
thank you for having us on. Thank you for having us.
So hopefully you had a cup of coffee already. We haven't, so our brains are going to be a little slower, so you might be ahead of us.
I don't know about that.
All right, so hey, let's get right into it. We actually talked about roofing last week temporarily, only because it just kind of dawned on me. I had a neighbor. He did not fix his roof after a hailstorm when everybody else in the neighborhood did, and then he went to sell his house, and guess what? He couldn't sell it. He got stuck in pending because the inspector went up on the roof and said, "Oh, you got some problems." So
Yeah.
he had to get it fixed just to close the deal. Have you seen that happen a lot before? Is that pretty common?
We see that quite a bit. We see it really quite a bit where people sometimes just try to do the minimum to get through. And I understand that, but the biggest problem you run into is if you wait after a storm, some insurance companies won't cover it after so long of a time. So you're kind of stuck with a bill at that point, and that's can get expensive.
So it's almost like if you think you can wait till the next hailstorm, that might not be the best decision, because that could come a long ways away.
Right.
It sure could. Some only allow you 1 year from the date of the storm, so it can get costly.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
So that's a good point for everybody.
That's right.
Okay. So, and also, if you guys are watching this either on the replay or watching it live, make sure you comment below with your questions for Jamie, and also make sure you tell your friends and family, because everybody at some point is going to have their roof replaced.
Absolutely.
And these are the kind of questions that everybody's going to have, so you might as well just help them out. All right, let's go with the first question that we've got for you. Go ahead and take it.
First question. What should I do roof-wise prior to purchasing a new home? Good one.
Yeah.
If you're going to go look for a new home, you always obviously have an inspector come out, but it is good, and inspectors are really good at what they do, but sometimes if you have a professional roofer come out, they see a little more things that can cause problems down the line. So it's good to have them out to see the little smaller things. We we get down a little closer and we look for any future problems that can be avoided from the start, so you don't have that purchase of a house and then you have a automatic expense right off the bat as soon as it starts raining, as it does in Oklahoma sometimes,
Right.
and then you have problems.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Okay.
Good. Yes.
Number two, what are the perks of having a roof inspection prior to storm season?
That's good.
Yeah, it's always best. Although there's some very talented roofers out there, sometimes things can pop loose now and then just from the winds that we get. It's not an
Yes.
intended thing that happens when you install one, but elements can take place with the extreme heat and the extreme cold we get. There's so much contraction and expansion that we get. Caulking can pop off, or a seal can come loose. Flashing can come up a little bit. So if you have an inspection prior to springtime, especially, you can get everything buttoned down and ready to go through the more fierce storms that we can get. It's not going to be a hell-proof type situation, but it can cause one small leak can cause quite a bit of damage if it comes in and hits something that's of value.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And let's see, we had a house situation where the owner wanted to sell it, but they ended up being in a fight with the insurance company to replace the roof because one section of it was leaking. And I think, like in your prior point, they waited too late. And so because that was tangled up, the purchase or the
Right.
sale of the home couldn't even proceed unless the new buyer was willing to take on that headache and just fix it himself. So,
Right.
Right.
well, both of those were tied in. That was a good question. Okay, go to number three.
Okay. So number three, how to make sure the homeowner is properly insured before storm season.
Okay.
Insurance changes so quickly, and we try our best to stay on top of it, just because it does change so quickly. You have opportunities out there when storms happen. Most homeowners don't understand their insurance on replacement until after the storm. So it's best to get with your agent or somebody in that area to get out there and make sure that you have the proper insurance for that, because there's so many things that change. Oftentimes they will upgrade codes, what has to be installed. Regardless of what is being installed, the codes can change, but your insurance can cover the code upgrades if you have the proper one. And obviously you have your deductibles out there. You can negotiate your own deductible down if it's too high. Sometimes we want to buy insurance according to price, and that's always not the best idea,
Right.
because things will happen where you end up having to have it sometime down the line.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
and I spoke
Good
to
point.
some insurance agents here recently, and there's kind of a couple issues. One is it's sometimes harder to get insured an initial policy if your roof is too old, because they don't want to cover it
Right.
because
Right.
they know right off the bat they're going to have to pay out. And then, like you said, the deductibles are going up, and then the insurance rates themselves are going up. So there's this knee-jerk reaction. Well, to save money, I need to lower my coverage, and so when it comes to roofs, that's probably not the best idea.
Right.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
Absolutely not.
After the storm, let's kind of shift gears. That was kind of a pre-storm deal. What happens
Yep.
after the storm? So, number one, the proper steps and what to do after a storm hits your home. Let's go.
Depending on the extent of the damage that happens right then, and let's just go with rain and hail, wind, things like that, which are more common. One thing you want to do is call a trusted person that you trust, as far as a roofing company that comes out, somebody that you know is going to tell you the truth and not give you the sky is falling scenario
Right.
that we hear often. Because sometimes it's just minimal damage. Even though hail can fall large, it can just splatter like a snowball. So really, it didn't cause any damage, or it can be small and cause a lot of damage depending on the how hard the hail is when it comes down. But a lot of times homeowners say, "Well, I can't see any damage from the ground." You're probably not, because it's just the angle of the shingle. You have to get up on top. So you put somebody on top that you like and trust. They bring pictures down to you and give you a complete evaluation of what they find. And then you start the process. If you think it's, you talk with them, and if you think it's something that you want to turn into the insurance company, then you will make a hail claim. Never let anyone besides yourself make the insurance claim. Do not let any roofers make the claim. Don't make anybody that comes by make the claim for you. You
Okay.
need to be the one to make the claim. just so you don't get into anything down the line saying, I wish I wouldn't have
Right.
done it, and they did it for me.
Ah,
Oh, for
good
sure.
point.
Oh,
Yes.
for sure.
Wouldn't have thought of that.
No, actually, that's some really good information.
Right.
And I know we're gonna have our Facebook comments loaded up. We already have one in there so far. So I'm just kind of showing you. We're gonna get to those of you watching here, and you've got some questions. Load them in here. So we're gonna get to Crystal's question here in just a second after we get through a couple more of these other ones. The second one is, who do I call first after a storm?
Yeah, good one.
You call your trusted roofer. A lot of times we
Okay.
want to call the adjuster right off the bat, and that's not a good thing, because if they come out, and an adjuster will come out, if they come out, even if they do not find damage, you have a claim against your name. You're only allowed so many claims before insurance company can drop you or raise you
Really?
on call. So you do not want the knee-jerk reaction, unless obviously if your roof is halfway off and water's coming in, that changes a lot of things. But
Right.
just because the wind blew and hail fell does not mean you have damage. So you want to
Right.
make sure you
Okay.
call your roofer out. And I don't mean this in a negative way, but sometimes the ones that come by your house just knocking, they can be very good, but you really don't know them. So right
Right.
now it's time to do your due diligence and find somebody that you know and trust. You may not be home when it happens. So somebody you can just call that will come out for you and give you the evaluation you need.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, that's good, because I did
That's
hear
good.
even if you call the insurance company and you don't even file the claim, it's still a negative hit against
Yes.
you. That
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
that's so horrible, but that's the way that
Yeah.
works. Okay, so good. I'm glad you tied that in.
And Jamie, do you offer roof inspections?
Absolutely. We do free, doesn't cost you a penny.
Okay.
Even if you decide not to use us, we're still going to give the evaluation and the pictures that you can tell and make your educated decision on what you want to go
Okay.
forward with.
Very good. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, go ahead. Was it? What are we on? Number 3.
Yes. Oh, and does Ferguson Roof Systems offer financing?
We do.
Oh, good.
Sometimes, Oklahoma just passed a law. It's always been an insurance law, but it kind of got avoided. But the state of Oklahoma just passed a law to where a roofer cannot cover your deductible anymore. So sometimes homeowners have to come out of pocket, and their deductibles, depending on their policy, can be kind of high. Except maybe they can't afford to
Right.
pay out of pocket right then. So we
Right.
offer 0% interest financing, if they can just finance it and get some small payments and get it paid off. Or sometimes we have people want to do that, but they want to go ahead and add some other things to their house, like windows or paint or gutters or siding. So
Yes.
we can
Right.
just put it all in one lump sum, and it's 0% interest. So we don't have
Oh,
to
good.
worry about that high
That's
interest rate right now.
great.
Phew.
Right.
Finally, something not with a high interest rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kidding.
that's wonderful.
All right. Let's see. Number
Good
4,
stuff.
and I didn't even know that about the deductible deal
Yeah.
being passed. So that was good information.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
All right, number 4. Is it possible for the roofing company to pay for the deductible?
Oh.
Well, you just
That
covered.
ties into
You
that.
just covered that one.
No, no. Years ago, insurance just kind of gave us the money, and we just did what we did. We kind of got somebody lower end, and maybe the lower price, not lower end, but lower price, and we
Right.
kind of made some money. Sometimes you can't do that anymore. By the state of Oklahoma, you have to pay it now.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's where it comes back on the insured to work with the insurance company and say, all right, give me a policy
Correct.
that's not going to break my own
Yes.
personal bank.
Right. As Jamie
Right.
indicated for.
Because
And now there's two
nobody-
deductibles.
Yeah.
There's two deductibles on every policy. One for everyday occurrence, water heater leaks, but the second one is hail and wind, and that's the one that's generally higher, a percentage of what you have insured with the company.
Right. A lot of
okay.
times, on average, I think it's 1% of the cost of the
Yeah.
home. Something about that. Around about those numbers.
Correct.
And I could see the wind
Oh yeah.
ripping up those.
In
Shingles.
Oklahoma, insurance companies stay busy because
Yes.
there's a lot of claims filed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jamie, I'm pretty sure you stay busy 24/7.
Oh yeah.
We stay a little bit busy.
All right. Let's see. Next question.
So, what is the installation process?
Once you decide on your roofer, just go with, if you generally use us, we're going to sit down with you, let you pick out your color and your style of shingle that you would like up there, the color of your metal edge, the color of your gutters, or whatever we're going to replace. We get everything written down, ready to go. At that point, we start doing the staging. We have the material brought out and staged right there. We put it on the ground. We don't want to load the roof with all the shingles just due to weight. And then you really don't want to bend the shingles over the top of the ridge. It's just not good for them, especially in this colder weather. But we bring that, we take everything off, get it all the way down to the deck. The crew shows up, gets everything marked off and tarped off and ready to go. We tear it off, and you have to go down to the deck. So we inspect that deck in case there's anything the insurance would cover that could be possibly wrong with the deck, or if you have some kind of a dry rot issue. Most of the time, it's something minimal, and we just fix it with no charge and get it up there, and then start putting the roof on according to what the manufacturer tells us to do. Get it all cleaned up and gone. Most roofs, depending on the outside, but it's usually a 1-day process to get everything on and off.
Okay, so you kind of, I got to touch base on this just because now my mind's wondering. You did find damage, right? And you did find significant rotting or deck issues where you've got to put everything on hold. So we all know that nobody wants a bare roof for more than the 24 hours that it takes to do the entire event. So what's the process at that point?
If we see damage and it's storm related damage, that's what would take place with the insurance company. It has to be storm related. Okay. If on that situation, we just take pictures. We're in constant contact with that adjuster. We send what they call a supplement right straight to them. We just go on. We go ahead and fix it regardless of what the insurance company says. We fix it. We don't want the roof open.
Right, because otherwise you've got to tarp the thing, and it's got to. This weather, that's no good.
Right.
We just kind of throw the dice that they're going to pay us. We're not going to go. If we make the judgment call to go forward and get it fixed, it's not on the homeowner at that point. It's on us and the insurance company. If they decide that they're not paying us, then we just ate a roof. But that happens. I mean, but we're not going to leave it open.
Okay,
right.
good.
Okay, that's good.
I know in some cases, it's usually during huge events where you'll see some helicopter shot, not necessarily here in Oklahoma City, but I've seen other parts of the country where you just get these blue tarps everywhere. Yep. So when you're seeing that, what is happening at that point?
Generally, you see a lot of those around hurricanes or tornadoes, and it's a tarp that's almost like a pull liner that stretches and goes over there, and it's attached at the bottom. That's generally when you have holes through the roof, and nobody can get there quick enough to patch everything. It's not missing shingles generally; it's holes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Interesting. I think it's funny because one question leads to another, so that's good.
Yeah, of course.
And I got a ton of roofing questions. All right, let's do the last question we have, and then we'll get to the ones that are written in.
Right.
When does Ferguson Roof Systems want the payment?
Right.
And once we're finished, we get everything done. And when I say everything done, a lot of times during hailstorms, we're replacing roofs and gutters, maybe some window screens or windows or paint. Right. We get every process done out of there. We do a walk around with the homeowner, make sure they're satisfied with everything. If they see something that they're just not quite pleased with, that they want to change, maybe a shingle is sticking up or something, we make sure it's all processed and all down. They sign off on everything, make sure that it's all satisfied to them. And then generally we would take the first insurance payment because they're going to divide it into two. The insurance company will. We take the first insurance payment and the deductible at that point, and then we bill the insurance company for the remainder. And sometimes that takes 2 or 3 weeks before that process comes in. And then once it's in, the customer just calls us and says the second half's in, and we come pick it up or they bring it in. You never pay for anything up front before. It's not a good idea to do that.
Okay. So let's do it. Let's switch that question answer around to more of a bullet point short answer of a red flag. Okay, because let's say somebody, you know what, they didn't want to do Ferguson, and somebody knocked on their door, said, we can take care of your roof. Can you list like you just mentioned on the payment side, is there any other, short, quick red flags to go, bad call, get out of there quick?
Yeah, money up front's number one.
Okay.
Probably the two things I would avoid is I'll cover your deductible, and the second one is money up front.
Okay, so if they come knocking on your door, and that happens, they're what they call in the industry, they're fly-by-night roofers or something. They obviously they gravitate toward wherever there's damage, and they got to get there first, right? It's strike first, strike hard, and con the homeowner, and then get out. So the biggest con tips are Payment up first, payment up front,
And I'll cover your
deductible, no problem.
Good,
Right.
good.
If that
Thank you for
happens, you slam the door in their face and you call Ferguson Roof Systems.
Right.
All right, well, tell you what, let's do some of the questions that we
Yeah.
have that came
We
in.
have some comments.
Yeah, so Crystal had the first one, and her question was, what is the best type of policy for homeowners to get for their
Great
roof?
question.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a really good question. You can negotiate your own, but there's two types of policies when it comes to replacement of a roof. One is actual cash value, and the other one is replacement cost. Actual cash value is the lower end policy, and that's what your roof is worth when it was installed. If it was 10 years ago, that's what they're going to pay you minus your deductible. Replacement cost value is today's price. So as shingles continue to move up or labor moves up or whatever, the insurance company will pay that once it's completed. Only thing you're out is your deductible. So it's replacement cost value with code upgrade.
Oh, replacement value with code upgrade. Okay.
Good.
Good. That's valuable information.
All right, now
sure,
this
a lot
is
of folks wonder.
Yeah, oh, for sure. All right, now this is kind of a long-winded question, and let me see. Does it all fit on the screen? Oh my goodness, it's a paragraph. I don't know if I can read all of that. It won't let me.
I can read it
on this computer. Okay, so
Michelle Heaton.
Yep.
Ashpenek.
Yes.
Panic. Okay. I have a house built in 1997. Roof has never been replaced, only patched. We now have home insurance since 2022. The insurance guy came to do an in-person evaluation of the roof, didn't climb on the roof that she was aware of, and said due to the age and condition of the roof, they were increasing my house insurance. My question is, can I use my house insurance to pay for a new roof? What if the damage was prior to my home insurance coverage starting? I had the coverage and he didn't come out in person to assess it until months after I had the insurance. He came out maybe in late summer, early fall, so there might have been weather events that could have damaged it further since then. Any info is appreciated. Oh, and of course now they sent me a letter stating they cannot insure our home after the next renewal date of February 2023 unless we get a new roof. The roof is a shingle roof. It's not caved in or leaking or anything, just old.
I bet you that's a more common question than you can imagine. And I kind of,
Right.
I kind of had mentioned that when we started the show. What happens, if it's old and nobody replaced it?
Right. Depending on when the homeowner took the insurance to begin with, we have the opportunity in the computers, we can jump in and find a storm that actually hit that area, and they will date that storm. If the homeowner had insurance during that storm period, when it came through, the insurance company will back up to that storm and deem it that was the storm that caused the damage. If she had a different policy prior to getting with this company, the other insurance company is actually liable for up to a certain amount of time. So if she had company A at one time, they could be liable even though she doesn't have them anymore.
Okay, and I think in this case it was at least the way I read it, it was the same company, but she hasn't filed a claim with them yet. But I think they woke up and go, "Oh, we know she's going to, so we're raising your rates in ahead of time." And so she's thinking, "Well, hey, can I go ahead and just file it now because they're going to raise me in a month from now?"
Right.
Well, I would say the best thing to do, if she wants to call us, we'll come out, take a look at it, do an evaluation. But and find any kind of storm-related damage. If there's storm-related damage, I would say yes.
Okay.
Call it in for an adjuster to come out. If there's not storm-related damage, they'll come out. But these adjusters, most of them are very, very good at their job, and they're not going to find any. She's just going to get denied and have a claim on her name.
Right. Yeah, they're not in the business of giving money away.
Right.
But in the case, though, that you were mentioning, there's a database for hail reports. So odds are, going all the way back to 97, that the roof has to have hail damage. There's no way. I don't think you can find a home in Oklahoma that did not get hail in the last 25 years. I don't think it's possible. And I've had cases where I've had insurance companies or people hire me to go, hey, the adjuster says we're denying your claim because the hail that you got hit with was too small, so it didn't cause damage, and therefore we're not liable as the company during the policy. And they'll hire me to go back and go, hey, can you find out if it really did hail there and how big it was, or what date did it do it within my policy coverage, that I can show the insurance adjuster. And then, so that's kind of how I can come in as a consultant if it turns out there's a fight, you know, in that situation. But I think most of the time, I think they behave. It's just probably these bigger $1 million+ payouts, they probably don't want to play nice.
Right.
Okay, so let's go to the next question.
And good morning to you too, James.
Yeah, James says good morning.
Thank you for tuning in.
For sure.
And Robin, good morning.
Let's see.
And Tammy Wolf.
Yeah, Tammy Wolf. Let me put her question, her statement up here.
Yeah.
She's enjoying the content.
Yes.
She found it very valuable. So that was good, to the point to where she's definitely going to call you guys.
Yeah, same with Michelle. She's mentioned.
Oh, here's a good one. So
yes.
Crystal brought this up.
Yep.
And it's kind of important, you know, because everybody trusts us and trusts you in this particular case.
Right.
But how do you check credentials online? How do we know you're a legit roofer?
You can go to Oklahoma has what they call the Construction Industry Board, or the CIB. That's where every roofer will have to be licensed. You can actually Google that, and there's a spot. You can skip it. There's a spot you can go to. It says, "Are they licensed?" You can go right there. You can type in the name of the owner of the business or the name of the business, and then it will tell you actually where their office is at, and it will tell you there's two licenses. There's a residential and a commercial. It'll give you the license number, and it will say in good standing, or not in good standing, or suspended. So you have to find one within good standing. That is a residential license. Then you can continue to the right, and it will say commercial, and it will have nothing there, which means they don't have a commercial license, or it will say valid. That's how you check it. That's the fastest, easiest way, or you can actually call into the Construction Industry Board.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's sad that you actually have to go through that process, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
In your industry, I know this is a off the wall, and it's shooting from the hip answer, because you always hear horror stories.
Right.
Do you have any idea the percentage of roofing fraud that goes on in your industry, you know, from the reputable companies versus the irreputable? Is there some type of number where it's a 50-50 shot, or if it's only like 10% are bad guys and they make the rest of you look bad? What's the number? Do you have any idea?
You know, in Oklahoma, there's over 5,000 licensed roofing companies. Some of them may not have their license anymore for whatever reason. And there's some very, very legitimate businesses out there. And a lot of times when somebody asks us, they're going to get more quotes. We try to send them to these reputable businesses that I know are good people, been around for a long time. They're going to do a good job. But that's a handful out of the 5,000 that's there. There's some people that are basically new to the industry, and they're really, really trying, but maybe they don't know all of the laws and things. But
Sure.
if I'm guessing, just from what we see and hear, you're up into the 70-80% of somebody's going to cheat somebody.
No.
And it's just not good. We see it all. We see it a lot. And sometimes it's
It's
not.
disheartening.
It's not necessarily toward the homeowner. It may be toward they don't pay their labor. If a roofing company doesn't pay their bill at the supply house, or if they don't pay the roofer who's doing the job, they can come back and lien your house. And that's just not a good thing. And anytime somebody comes to your house, you want to make sure that you're on their insurance policy as an additional insured, because if they don't have workman's comp and they fall, it falls right on the homeowner. So there's a lot of things that your better roofing companies, well, I hate to say that word, but it is. It's your ones that are more legitimate. They're going to offer all those services to you right off the bat without you even asking for them.
And you know,
that's good.
That can tie in
to title insurance.
Yeah, that can tie into title insurance, and actually tie into a scam on purpose. So basically a planned con when it comes to selling your home, to prevent that process from happening till you get paid out, by putting this lien that the title company has to search for.
Right.
And if you work that just right in the gap or whatever, to try to get away with it, and so if the title company doesn't catch it, that kind of deal, I can definitely see how that would definitely be a problem to deal with. So, woo, we want to avoid all of that nightmare.
Right.
Okay, another great question coming up. Let's see. This one is from Michelle.
Yeah.
And
Can you recommend any house insurance company that is easier to work with than another?
We deal with them every day. Personally, I choose to stay with the smaller companies. Seems like the larger companies are they're changing their policies to the point where they don't want to pay for certain things, such as metal, like gutters and vents and things like that, or garage doors. They don't really want to pay for that. Then there's some, we mentioned earlier, Aaron was mentioned earlier about the size of the hail causing the damage. That's the biggest myth that's in the industry. In a perfect world, inch and a half hail will cause damage. But we've actually worked storms where hail fell the size of marbles, and it was so wind driven and hard that it sandblasted the house. So
yes.
that can cause damage as well.
Yes.
So there's a guy here in Tuttle that I use, and he represents 3 or 4 or 5 different companies, and he can put me where what I need on the policy coverage. But I tend to ask people to stay away from your bigger companies. They're the ones we have the most trouble with.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So you touched on something that I had no clue about, and this is good to know.
Right.
And this would be good for others to know, to ask their insurance company when they're going to get a new policy, or they're upset because their rate just went up. Like me, mine went up 46%, and I'm like, excuse me. So I'm like, what am I getting out of this or not getting now? How are you guys changing the rules for roofing? So, do you have a couple of questions to ask your agent that are red flags in covering any roofing costs that you guys would have if they're going to refuse to pay for? I know you mentioned kind of the gutters or the garage, but anything particular involving the actual roofing process itself? Is there anything there that they're now beginning to not cover?
Right. There's addendum that they can actually add to their policy that will cover metal. So let's just say they have a metal roof.
Right.
And hail comes, a lot of policies won't cover the dents in the metal roof unless you get a marring and scratches addendum put to your policy. They say it's not hurt, it's just dented.
Right.
So they won't cover it. So you got to live with a dented roof. So you can get those type of things put on there. And the next question to ask is the length, because some insurance companies will only cover your roof for 10 years on replacement cost, and then they're going to drop you back down to the actual cash value. And a lot of things have changed in 10 years on cost. So they drop you back down to 10 years ago price, and you're going to be paying some money out of your pocket if something happens.
Oh, man, things change so quickly.
Right. So you really have to keep on top of it.
Yeah, you do. Okay, great answer. Okay, so let's see. We got one more question here. It's a good one, especially, and of course, we're usually talking about shingles, I'm assuming, but this particular question from Brooklyn is, what type of warranties do you offer?
As far as labor warranty, we give a lifetime labor warranty. So as long as you own the house, it's free. If it comes off because you put it on, it's a free, complete fix. We come out annually every spring and make sure all you have to do is call us and line it back up. And we check everything for free, make sure it's ready to go for storm season. When it comes to products, when the shingles put on, most people put on what they call a 30-year roof, and you've got a 10-year limited warranty on that, basically. And limited coverage, it only covers the install of the shingles. It doesn't cover anything remove or anything accessories. We like to sell a higher policy. When I say sell, it's mostly give it away. Is where it covers everything. It covers if the shingle manufacturer, if it deteriorates and falls apart because of the way it was made, it's 100%. So we want to make sure that you're covered all the way around. So there's opportunities out there for all these things. It's just not throw a roof on because it can fail with the manufacturer.
So you made a great point, mentioning that for the life or for the time that the owner lives in the property, the roof is covered. Let's just say they get a new roof. 5 years later, something happens, they need to sell. what happens now when there's another homeowner taking possession of that property? Does the roof warranty transfer over because it's so new
Absolutely does.
still?
That's a great
Okay.
question. We see that a lot, but we have a little bit of, we have one rule when it comes to that. Just call us and tell us you're selling. We're going to come
Okay.
out and inspect it and make sure something hasn't occurred. Like you let trees grow up and rub the roof off or something. You
Right.
maintained it. And if it's maintained, and I'm talking about you haven't let somebody come up and do a bunch of something on your roof or
Right.
drilled a bunch of holes in it, it'll still be covered and I will transfer it right to the next homeowner.
Oh,
No charge. It goes right to
wonderful.
them.
Okay.
Excellent.
Good.
All right, so
Thank you.
one thing you did, did trigger a question because you pointed it out. And when you say anything's wrong with the roof, you guys will come back out and fix it. When you look at a roof, most of it's pretty laminar, uniform, and flat. But every now and then, you'll see these little raises,
Little dips.
little in certain, and this may be just after a roofing deal was done. Is there a period of kind of what we call, I guess, settlement or relaxation of the materials, or are these little raises, little imperfections? You might catch your eye, but they don't have any structural integrity issues with them.
Depending on, there's a lot of things that can cause that. A lot of times we call those nail pops, and that's it. What has happened is expansion and contraction through the plywood or through the, most time it's one by decking up there, and it will cause that nail to back itself back out, and it
Okay.
raises the shingle. If something like that happens, we just come out, take that out, seal that back down. We cold seal it with a product that goes under the shingle and get that back down. That's the most common. The other thing is the decking could actually have come loose and raised it. If
Oh,
that case, we have to take those shingles back off, fix the decking, and put that back down. The last thing that can cause it is when it was installed, the felt was wrinkled, and it's
okay.
just going to be a permanent thing unless you go down there and fix that felt.
Okay, so
Oh,
in any of those cases, are all those kind of superficial cosmetic? They're not integrity type that's going to cause a leak or a problem later, or is it something that they really should come out and get fixed? Just knock it out.
Yeah, it will cause a
right.
leak, especially if it's a nail that's backed up.
Okay.
Water's a funny thing. We think it's just going to run downhill, but it won't. It will turn and run back
Oh,
uphill and find that
that's right.
hole and come right in.
Okay, so then the bottom of the story is inspect your roof, make sure it's nice and
Yeah.
flat when the roofing
But
company leaves.
I also would add in the chimney as well because there's the flashing around the chimney, right? I'm sure there's a lot
Oh,
of issues with chimneys.
yeah, actually, can you touch on that? Because even mine, when
Right.
I go up on my roof, and I notice over time with the weather and the rotting and everything
Right.
else, if roofers even mess with that at all, or they just ignore it and
Well,
then put down the other parts.
they're supposed to. The insurance company actually, if it's an insurance job, actually pays for reflashing of walls or chimneys, and
Okay.
we're supposed to reflash it all the way around. And then obviously you have ice and water shield, 3 foot wide sticky inner tube that goes around it, which
Okay.
causes any can stop any extra problems there too. So they
Oh,
should
good.
replace that flashing.
Ah,
Interesting,
okay,
because
good. Well, it's
my
all part of the roof.
yeah, actually, I had to go in there and make some. I had to go there and make some patchwork myself because mine wasn't done.
Make
So
some adjustments.
that's good to know. I should have caught that. So and okay, so here's the problem with that. Unfortunately, is for the homeowner to catch that, they're going to have to actually climb on the roof.
Right.
So, or you're going to have to ask and just take the roofer's word for it that they took care of it. Correct? Is that the only two ways to handle that?
Yeah.
Or watch. I mean, that's your only ways.
Right.
Or you could just get a
Or
drone,
you can
fly the drone
actually,
up there.
as a homeowner, you can require pictures.
Oh, okay.
You
Oh,
can actually require, hey, I want to see from, you give me every step what you're doing, just give me pictures so I can see
right.
everything.
Good
Oh,
point.
that's a great point.
Right. Because if they come and you're at work,
Yeah.
you're just taking their word for it. So,
Right.
Sure.
good
Okay.
point.
So I got a couple more questions that
Okay.
keep coming in, so let's just knock them out here.
Yep.
This one's going to be from Shelby, and her
Okay.
first question is about people.
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 Oh, people should let this man check the roof and hardware and around the chimney so he can seal any leaks prior to spring storms.
Ah, that's a good
Good
point
one,
because
yeah.
they could be in my situation where mine was having leaks and I had to go up there and fix it myself. So yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah.
So that brings me to another question.
Okay.
Now, you go up there, you did your own little patch job. What happens to the integrity of the roof now?
Well,
Have you ever encountered that before, Jamie, where you've come in now, someone's done their own work on their chimney, but now there's a warranty claim. What happens?
Our warranties are written in the fashion of call us. Don't
Okay.
try to fix it yourself. We have plenty
Okay.
of people that can come out and we're going to take care of that.
Right.
If the
So does
homeowner
it,
gets up there and says, hey, it was the middle of a storm and I had to caulk it, that's
right.
fine. We're just going to pop that off and fix what's going on.
Okay.
But the roofer should leave a bundle or two of shingles after they finish the job there at the house,
Yes.
stored in a shed or what have you. So if there's any
Right.
kind of an issue like this, we have the matching shingle right there and we can just fix it,
Okay.
rather than trying to find it.
Right. So in other words, it won't void your roof warranty then.
No, we want to try to get out there as fast as we can. It just
Right.
depends on
Okay.
what they what they do. They can
They
void it
did.
if they go crazy on it, but
Okay. Okay, good.
All right,
Thank
so
you.
here's a good question. We didn't even touch this at all, and it's becoming more and more popular and common now, and probably given more in the future. And those are solar panels. So how do you guys work around that installation?
that becomes a little bit of a process. We have to have generally an electrician and a plumber come out, and they will remove them off of the house,
Okay.
and store them most likely in the yard. We're going to get our stuff done as fast as possible. Probably
Right.
pick on that side of the house first, so we can get them off and get those right back on. But we have to. We have to. The insurance company will allow for that also.
Oh, so they
Oh,
will
good.
cover
Okay.
the cost of removing and the reinstallation.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
No, that's a great question.
That is. And I'm sure even with skylights, some people put in
Right.
skylights after the fact too, which I know I had one in one of my houses and it would leak every rain, every rainstorm. It would start
Yeah.
to leak. It was horrible.
They
Well, since
will.
you brought those up,
Yeah.
are skylights a pain for you guys in the roofing business?
Um, Old ones are. A lot
Okay.
of times they're
Right.
flatter and the flashing's not as wide as it needs to be, but the new ones are really good. If they're
Okay.
installed correctly, you won't have any issues with them.
And you did mention you guys have a list or a stack of shingles on stock for repair and patch jobs. Are the shingle colors, I guess is for a better lack of a better term, are they universal to where in all roofs there's only, for example, 12 ever colors or types you can pick from, so therefore it's easy to keep that inventory on hand?
We try to keep the more well-used ones. Most people on these houses have weathered wood shingles. It just depends on the brand. So we keep
Okay.
the ones that's often more used. We try to keep those over there in the shop. That way we have something that would match. If we have to go get it from the original roof, always keep in mind that lot numbers change. Even though it was the same type of shingle and the same color, the lot numbers can vary a little bit, so it can be a little bit darker or a little bit lighter, but it's not as often as you think it would be.
Okay.
Okay, because I know I'm thinking back in the old days when people would just patch the roofs. Nobody ever replaced the roof. They just constantly
Right.
patched it, and you would have this hodgepodge of all kinds of colored shingles on the
Yeah.
roof.
Right. Well, me coming
Yeah.
from Canada, we would see that a roofing company would come in. They wouldn't repair the whole roof because sun damage would cause so much curling of the shingles. They would only replace one section of that roof if that's all that was needed.
Is that even a
Right.
deal here, or is there ever any partial repairs of roofs, or is it you
Yeah.
really just got to do the whole thing?
No, insurance, when they come out, they will do 4 slopes of your roof, north, south, east, and west, and they want
Okay.
to get a test square on all 4. But sometimes when the hail or wind comes, it only takes off, say, the south side, so they're only going to pay for the damaged. So they could actually do that, but they have to go either eave to eave or rake to rake or hip to hip to where they're getting that one section done.
Okay, and then in that case, then you guys would only, unless the homeowner comes out of pocket, you would only cover that quarter of the roof
Right.
then.
Correct. It don't happen very often. Most insurance companies or the adjusters, they will search and try to help you and get it done. And if it goes over a certain percentage of the amount of squares on the roof, they go ahead and just
Right.
total the whole thing out.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
That's
that
good to
makes
know.
sense. Yeah.
All right.
I wondered.
Let's see. Any other questions you can think of?
I'm just going to run through ours again. No, I think we've covered.
Yeah, we had some good questions come
Yeah,
in. And
it's
then,
wonderful.
Jamie, is there anything else you just want to say off the top as we kind of come to a close of anything you'd like to bring out or point out for
Right.
roofing in general?
You know, if somebody has any questions, we're free. Bring us out. Use this. It's good training for my sales guys. We'll come out there. It doesn't cost you a penny. You don't have to use me, but you can get the educated answer of what your actual question is, rather than waiting and it really is a problem, and
Okay.
you maybe pass a deadline or something. Just use our service. I mean, it's free, and we'll give you the best answer we can give you. We're going to do it with pictures. We're going to be able to back up the evidence with pictures. We're not going to come down and just give you the sky is
Right.
falling scenario.
Right.
And
Okay.
and I can vouch for Jamie's integrity, his heart,
Yes.
his mind, his soul. I've known Jamie
course.
for a few years, and he's the best of the best. And you guys are striving to always have that 5-star review. You do
Right.
not want an unhappy client.
Right.
And you guys will bend over backwards to make sure that everybody's
So-
satisfied with a new roof. Is that correct?
Yeah, we try our hardest, and sometimes we do make mistakes. Sometimes
Yeah.
the mistake doesn't define you; it's how you handle the mistake,
Right.
and we want to make sure everybody's satisfied before any money comes out of their pocket. That's just where we want to be at.
Good.
And then, Jamie, let us know, is there certain parts of Oklahoma that you don't cover or won't travel to? Let our viewers know where you're willing to work.
We cover all of Oklahoma,
Okay.
and then we cover. We got a salesman that is actually from Kansas, so we cover up in Kansas, and we'll cover North Texas.
Okay.
So that's
Good.
we have a big wide area, but if somebody is out there on an island, we don't want them to use somebody they're not happy with just because
Right.
somebody won't come. So we'll get up there.
Okay. Thank
Right.
you. And us being in real estate agents, if I have a first-time home buyer, he's unsure, we can call you for a pre-roof inspection prior to him purchasing the
Absolutely.
home? Okay.
Absolutely. We'll give them a written inspection to kind of make them, if it's all good, we make them feel warm and fuzzy with what they've
Yeah.
got, and it's all pictures and everything. So they know
Good.
most homeowners are not going to go up there. So they need to be able to see it and keep it in their
Right.
file.
Absolutely. Okay.
And
Thank
I
you.
was going to let you go, but we had one question
Yeah.
I missed. It slipped in there, so we got to knock it out real quick.
Okay.
Our last one, and it is: can you prove a metal roof is rusting, and that they will pay for it? Meaning the insurance company. Have you ever run into that issue where the metal roofs are rusting and there's an issue with the insurance?
No, and they're going to call an insurance company's going to call rust probably a maintenance issue. They're really not going to cause it a storm-related damaged problem. We can find it and we can take care of it, but insurance companies most likely won't pay for rust.
Okay.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. Well, good to know. Unless you can get a amendum, as you mentioned,
Right.
for
Right.
cosmetic or whatever they're going to
There
call
you
it.
go.
That's a question to ask your adjuster, and it may cost you a couple bucks.
And
But
do you do metal roofs?
Yeah, we do. We do any. If it's up there, we'll do it.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Good.
All right. I'm gonna think of some brand new roof composite. I'm gonna challenge you on that. I don't know if
Come
the
up with
HOA
that
will like it.
resistant roof, and we can all sell it to everybody.
There you go. If
Right.
if we can come up with that,
So-
we're golden.
Yeah, like a myth
There
that
you
I
go.
always thought I knew was with a metal roof, when rain or hail would hit it, how loud it would be in your house. But I
Yeah.
don't think that's really true.
The attics are so far up there now that it's really not causing any issue. That's the old
Right.
style where the metal was right on your head.
All right. Okay.
All right. Well, hey, Jamie,
Yeah,
thanks
thank
again
you.
for joining us
Thank you.
early this Saturday morning
Right.
and for answering all of the questions. And there was a lot of good, helpful information that people can use. Again, go head over to FergusonRoofSystems.com.
Yeah.
Anytime. He sponsors our show every
Yes,
every
thank
Saturday
you.
morning. He's been a sponsor for AT's Weather for a long time. So I've had a lot of people doing business with him. And so far, they're all satisfied. I haven't had
Right.
anybody complain at all. And he will answer any questions that you have. So thanks again for joining
Thank
us.
you, Jamie.
Yeah, and
Thank
for
you guys.
You bet. And if you guys at home, again, thanks for joining us here at Team Tuttle Realty for our coffee talk.
Yes.
We try to do these about every Saturday morning around 9 o'clock with a fresh cup of Joe.
Right, of course.
And so make sure you join us. Our goal is to give you value, information, something that you can walk away from and go, I'm glad I learned that today.
Yes,
right?
of
I didn't know
course.
that. I need that anywhere to be applied in the entire industry of real estate / home ownership.
There's so much.
There's so much that we can cover. So we'll have a topic every Saturday of interest. And then you guys can always write in your topics.
Yeah, let us
Either
know.
message us, send us a DM or email.
Yeah.
Go to our website, Aaron Tuttle, or that's my
I know.
automatic tag out. Go to teamtuttlerealty.com and you can search prices for your own home neighborhood. You can see what the Joneses, are doing across the street to see what their
Right.
home is worth and see what yours is.
Yes.
If it comes time to sell. And so there's a lot of information on there as well. So
Yes.
that's about it, I guess.
That's it. Call us for all your home needs.
Yeah, numbers at the top
Got
of
you
the
covered.
screen. Talk, call, text anytime. We'll answer any of your questions. and
Absolutely.
we'll guide you, help you out as best we can. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll
Thank
see you
you.
on the next show.
Thank you.
Morning coffee, vanilla latte served to go. I drink it slow. Morning coffee, cappuccino.